Hi everyone, it's Blesky P here from Australia with the fabulous Sabine coming in from the UK. But not only that, it's our very special guest, John Idan, is coming in from Germany in the middle of smack damn Germany. How are you today, John?
Hey, I'm fine. How about yourselves?
Really
Everything
good, John.
okay?
I got to tell you, it's our pleasure to have you on the show. Go straight to the top of the charts.
Go straight to the top of the charts. From 10 to 1, you got a show number one when you go straight to the top of the charts. Top of the charts, top of the charts. That song's gonna climb to the top. When you go straight to the top of the charts. When you go straight to the top of the charts. When you go straight to the top, right to the top. When you go straight to the top of the charts.
Brilliant.
Now, John, I just want to ask you, what have you been up to during the pandemic? Have you been practicing songs? Are you looking forward to touring? What is it that every Yardbird fan wants to know? Tell everybody in the world.
Well, wow. Personally, I mean, what I've been doing, I have been really, really busy right here in this room, recording new material and working on stuff that I've had in the can for a while. And fortunately, I've seemed to be on a little bit of a roll as far as getting my creativity back. You know, I've had songs that have been needing lyrics and finishing up, and sometimes you go, I've had songs that maybe 5-6 years, kind of like ideas all on tape, and you go, I must finish the lyrics for that. So I've been kind of dedicating myself to actually doing that, and been very, very pleased with what's coming out of myself, you know. So sometimes you have to, you know, dig down deep and use your time as best you can. Of course, it's been a huge letdown for everyone, what's going on, you know, and sometimes you go, what do I do? You know, there's no gigs to play. There's not a huge incentive to go out and, for many artists, to go out and record, because you can't go out and promote the music. So to release stuff now, well, we know how it is now. It's like you have to go out and promote this stuff one way or another, or it just won't be seen. So releasing something, you have to then do the follow-up, and you can't do the follow-up now.
You go back to your musical roots now, because this solitude or this period in time, it allows you to reflect and really concentrate on your work. Would you say that's true? Oh,
definitely. Yeah, I've you know, you stay in touch with tight friends. You know, we do similar things like this, you know, or I had a long phone call with one of my best friends from my old block in Detroit, 2 hours last night. And we talked about all kinds of stuff. And, you know, time is ticking, and we're getting older, and our perspectives are changing, and our desires are changing. So, yes, it's a huge time of sort of semi-reflection, but like, how are we going to move on, you know? And it's also, I have to say, there have been many weeks of lots of people passing away, and from one thing or another. And sometimes that just completely throws a bomb in your week. It wasn't but 2 weeks ago, I lost 3 close friends. One from COVID, and possibly 2 from COVID, and another one from pancreas cancer, all very suddenly. And you just go, wow, you know, how does that not mess up your perspective, you know, on things? And these are people that should not have passed away so quickly, you know, not elderly people, you know. And you just go, oh, wow, you know. But so I don't want to, but it does put some perspective on what your time is about, you know, or our time is about right now.
Yeah. Sorry to hear that, John. Anyway, Sabine, I'll pass it over to you.
You've been over so many times to do gigs, and the Eel Pie Club has had you there several times over the years, and you've also played at the Live Room. I
That's
remember
right.
going
Yeah.
to the Live Room in Twickenham, which is just
Yep.
down the road from me. And so, how have you kept in touch with all the guys in the band? Do you think you'll be having a reunion at some point when it's possible?
For my own thing, yeah. I mean, we are due to play the Eel Pond, I think, in February.
And then also, I have your fabulous. I love this so much.
Oh, dig
I
it.
play it a lot.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love the
That's
lyrics.
great.
I can resonate. It's wonderful. And also, I have by Alan Clayson.
Oh, yes. Alan Clayson's book, yes. Yeah. Very
Great
neat.
mention in here, John. I want to quote something. This is. I really like this because I agree with this. And so it says, John Idan, Scott Walker, handsome.
Oh, no.
And a genuine American. I like that.
Oh, well, Scott, bless him, you know.
Oh, yeah. I know. What a voice.
He left us a couple of years ago now.
He did. Yeah.
My ex-wife actually dated him in the 60s.
Really?
And Scott used to come around to our flat in Ladbroke Grove. Mm-hmm. And so one day I'm sitting there and it's like Scott's like riding his bicycle from Chiswick, you know, over, and there's like Scott Walker sitting there having a cup of tea with us.
Wow. I mean, I've got all the Walker albums. I've got everything. I never got to see him play live, sadly, but what a voice. I know.
No, he was a wonderful singer. I mean, and he was a huge fan of Jerry Butler. And when he would recommend albums to my ex-wife, and so she had these Jerry Butler albums. And of course, you might remember that Only the Strong Survive, and For Your Precious Love that he did with the Impressions. But I tell you, that guy's voice, like his version of Moon River, is just unreal. And of course, he did the original Make It Easy on Yourself. His was the first cut of that. And Scott just took everything from it. I'm not saying that he didn't put his own print on it, but when you've got a vocalist like Jerry Butler or Dusty Springfield, that those guys like Baccarat worked with, you know, they had impeccable phrasing. And Scott knew this. So he just used that phrasing, you know, with his own voice, you know, and it's a very interesting A-B, you know, it's wonderful. You know, it's a real tip of the hat.
Yeah. The original Yardbirds, right? What year did you actually join the Yardbirds?
Well, I first met up with Top and Jim in '88, but we weren't the Yardbirds. They literally had a blues band, Top and Jim McCarty band. That lasted for, in various forms, different players, about 5 years. And then in '94, after they were inducted into the Hall of Fame in '92, a manager agent guy got us together as the Yardbirds. So it was kind of a combination of Jim's club group plus Chris Drea coming into the fold. And then it was like we used the Yardbird moniker. You know, so from 94 until 2009,
that's it
there. And then I left for 4 years and then have come back since 2015.
When you look back on 60s music, because you've got to understand, even now, I know how powerful the 60s music was. But when you look back at the original Yardbirds, right, when they had Eric Clapton and whatever, I mean, obviously the blues is like a major influence on you. And how strong was the original Yardbirds on your musical journey? Or who was like, tell me 3-4 bands that really influenced your playing?
Without a question. You know, everyone became a Beatle fan. You know, I mean, I grew up, I was 5 years old in '69, if that puts perspective on things. So I was just young. And songs like, Something and Come Together were brand new songs on the radio. And I can remember going to my mom, oh, when can we go and see the Beatles? And she said, oh, they've just broken up, And of course, I was listening to getting their old albums, the early Beatles stuff, which is, of course, so much different than their later material, that all of a sudden there's this huge contrast of styles and influences. I started playing guitar around 71, something like that. And I had an older brother, and he had a different, or more scope of finding music than I did. So all of a sudden we're listening to, this one Yardbirds album, funnily enough, called Reflections of the Yardbirds on Fontana. And it had all the hits, and I started learning various things. The first guitar solo I ever learned was Heart Full of Soul. It was the guitar solo from that. And I had a guitar teacher, and but yeah, the Yardbirds were like actually my first guitar orientated band that I actually was into. Zeppelin had already kind of obliterated dare I say, the memory in most people's minds of the Yardbirds, even though now upon seeing it, the time you go, gosh, how many thousands of kids saw the Yardbirds in 1968 with Jimmy Page doing all that stuff and then don't seem to remember it anymore, because they played endless tour in 67 and 68 of America, playing to thousands and thousands of kids, but nobody seems to go, oh, Jimmy Page was in the Yardbirds, Anyway, so, but yes, and I kind of having a good wide range of musical experiences. Like my mother loved soul music and Ray Charles and Duke Ellington and all that sort of stuff. My dad was a jazzer. So there was all this kind of music going on, plus what's going on the radio and everything else. It was an avalanche of stuff. So that's kind of why my own music is so nondescript, it has it's all over the place, because I just like everything.
Now, John, what are your personal favorite Yardbirds songs, would you say? Top three?
I really, really like, of course, Train Kept It Rolling has got to be, that is just got to be the most rockin' track they ever recorded. I like Mr. You're a Better Man Than I from its social perspective and its melodic perspective. There's I from Keith Relf's writing standpoint, I really like Turn Into Earth, and I like Only the Black Rose. I think those two songs really reflect Keith Relf in that melancholy that he was able to concisely put together on, wonderful.
Topham signed this for me 2 years
wonderful.
ago.
Gosh, yes. I spoke
he was in the Twickenham Club. They were doing an impromptu set with Don Crane of the Downliners Sect. It was great. It was just an impromptu thing, and Top was there with his son.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So I was reading then that that Yardbirds were also touring with the Zombies, another favorite band of mine. Seen them lots of times, and I have to say, for me, Graham Gouldman is a fantastic songwriter too.
Isn't he just? I didn't include his songs as my favorites, but
no, you didn't.
The reason why is because I get tired of those songs. They become sort of standard. You have to play them, sort of thing. But every morning, whenever I hear Bus Stop, that is my favorite Graham Gouldman song, as far as ones that the key change in that, when that key change, every morning I would see her waiting at the stop, when that comes and hits you, it's like, I can remember, it's almost like the first time you hear it, the first time you just go, it's
Yeah.
very similar to the same effect that John Phillips uses in I Saw Her Again Last Night, where it's like, every time I see that girl, when it goes into that section, because it's a key change. It's like it's like shifting gear in a Maserati, you know, into fifth gear, you know, or into the top gear, you know.
Yeah.
It's, all of a sudden the song just lifts, and you just go.
The tunes are so evergreen, John, and you know they sound sometimes so fresh still, and it's like the Beatles songs. You know, every single album's different, and still so listenable. It's just wonderful, and that's the power of great songs, great songwriting.
Most definitely.
But Graham Gouldman, I have to say, I requested something on a favorite radio station this morning, and it was For Your Love.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a magical little tune. It's 3-chord. It's basically a 3-chord, 4-chord wonder, you know?
Yeah, John, I've got to say, with the Yardbird fans, and I know here in Australia, there's so many people love the Yardbirds all over the world. It's got to amaze you. They've been in the Yardbirds now, let's say 2021, and the world now has got a bigger population than, let's say, what it was in the 60s. This is why it's totally different. And you know, the Yardbird fans, they embrace you and they appreciate that you're in the band the Yardbirds, even though you appreciate being in the band, of course. But you've got no idea how much of influence you got from being in the Yardbirds, because the new generations now are discovering not only the Yardbirds, but they're loving the new Yardbirds. And the people that went to see the old Yardbirds, the new generations of fans are coming to see the Yardbirds. How amazing is that?
Oh, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. You know, if we get particularly younger people, you know, as I said, a lot of the people of my age don't, unless they dug deep back in the 70s, the Yardbirds were kind of like, you know, yesterday's papers, you know, whereas now a younger generation of particularly musician or musical minded people, they'll come and see us, and because they know the history or they've learned some stuff about the band, and all of a sudden they come and see this incarnation of the band or one from not so long ago. And, you know, it's a powerful, dare I say, the material is like a powerful weapon to a degree, you know, and it needs to be treated, well, we play it with energy. And as soon as that is not available to us, that's when we'll stop, because that music cannot be played without that sort of, it can't be like, dare I say, again, like, it's like going to see the Who, you know, it's like if the Who were like just a complete pail of themselves, what a drag that would be, you know?
Yeah.
And they'll know when it's like, I mean, Roger had talked about, oh, my voice isn't quite up to it the way it was, you know, and he thought about retiring, but, you know, he's still got the energy. He's a vibrant man, you know, Pete certainly does. And as long as that is there for us, because that's what the music has to have, it demands it. So when somebody witnesses that for the first time, particularly in the moment live, you cannot help but be shooken a little bit, you know. And I know that we have hit audiences and like they're going like, oh my gosh, what did we just see? You know, and sometimes you go like, wow, what did we just do? You know, and that's the magic. That's what's great about it, you know? So that's a cool thing. That's a really cool thing. And that's what rock and roll is supposed to be about, you know?
Well, John, I can tell you're pure rock and roll. I'm just going to ask, were you going to grab your guitar for everybody out there in the world?
Sure, I'll grab a guitar real quick, and I'll strum you a little idea that I've got, all right?
Fantastic. We can't wait.
I'll be 2 seconds. I'll just grab a guitar here.
No worries.
Now, I mean, this is electric. I don't know how loud it'll be.
No, that's perfect, John. It's perfect.
Okay. Here's a little, I guess, a song that's got some COVID references to it because of the situation. This is really fresh, so I'll only give you a little tad, you know. So, let's see. I know you've been sitting there doing nothing but growing your hair. I think I'll keep mine this way. It takes me back to my younger days when we were rocking, really rocking. 'Cause rock and roll is the way. They try to put it in our heads, saying rock and roll is dead. As long as I'm singing this song today, I know rock and roll is here to stay. And we'll be rocking, really rocking. 'Cause rock and roll is the way. Now here's my Alice Cooper.
Oh, yeah.
Hallelujah, at long last, I'm getting ready to play. Pick up my electric guitar and blast the clouds away. Then it goes. Yeah. Let me see if I can get the next verse. I realize that times have changed, but rock and roll, but it's got a, oh, I know that the times have changed, but it's got a groove that just doesn't age. Breaks all the rules in every judgment passed, and even Mary Jane is legal at last. You know, all over the world, people can smoke pot almost. You know?
I'm going to say, John, is that an original exclusive you've never played anywhere before?
I've never played this before. This is
Wow.
literally being put
Well,
down.
that's why you've blown everyone's mind out there, because that's a worldwide exclusive from John. And the Yardbird fans can't wait for you to play it. I love it.
I love it. It's very catchy. It's really good,
it's a rock pastiche, you know, it's kind of stonesy.
Now, John, tell me, how will you end it? Now, we're going to have an ending. You just got to end it for us to stop.
Yeah, well, it goes into the other changes. Like the last verse is actually kind of important because it goes something about life. I can't. Anyway, it's born from the blues and the black man's strife. You know, that is. I can't remember it anyway, but it goes rock and roll's away. It goes into these chords. Rock and roll is the way. You know, the doo-wop chords. Rock and roll is the way. Then it goes into Chuck Berry, you know.
Yay! Oh, we love a bit of Chuck Berry.
Oh, we're loving it. I'm loving it.
Yeah, it's great. It's really great, John. Yeah.
You know, that sort of thing, you know.
Yeah. Finish it up, bring it out, release it. Oh, brilliant.
You got to record that.
You've got to record that, release it. Yeah. Please. Yeah. It's great.
We're working on, I got really loads of stuff, and that's kind of just one of them. But that's a new, that's literally brand new.
John, let me tell you, that one's going straight to the top of the chart.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Yeah. John, how many guitars do you have?
Oh, I've got about a dozen guitars, I suppose.
Right. And do you have your own studio there?
Well, I'm kind of sitting in it. I'm working on a new building, but this is just the front room, the front sort of, dare I say, office room. You know, I've got there's a building up in the garden that needs renovation, or it's been being renovated for the last 3 years. So soon, hopefully, we'll get up there, you know.
Yeah.
But we'll
Excellent.
see, you know.
John, what
Okay.
guitar is it you actually got there? Can you tell us what the
This
guitar is? Everybody out there wants to know.
Is let me get it in the picture. This is a 58 Gibson reissue guitar of a 50s Les Paul, and it's a great guitar. I've had several real ones in the past, but they're worth small fortunes now, and they were worth a lot of money even back, when I had two over the years, and they had to go to pay bills or help finance various things. It happens, but these new guitars that Gibson are making are really, really wonderful, and they're making them by the thousands. So whereas the original of this guitar, 1,800 guitars were made of this guitar back in 58, 59, and 1960.
Wow.
And as soon as guys like Mike Bloomfield and Eric Clapton got a hold of one of these in the mid 60s, the prices started to climb rapidly. Where a guitar like this, you could buy it in a pawn shop in 63 for $170 or something like that.
Wow.
By the end of the 60s, these things were $1,000, like $1,000. That was a lot of money back in 1970. By the time I started getting into them, they were like $3,000 and $4,000 and upwards of $7,000. Now an original one of these in pristine condition perhaps can fetch close to $1 million.
No way.
They only made 1,800 of them.
Oh.
And the wood that they made them from back in those days was Honduran mahogany that had been sitting around for like 50 or 60 years after it was felled. It was nice and light. The guitars were much more handmade. Now, of course, they're able to copy it with CNC technology and all this sort of stuff. But the wood is very good, but it's African mahogany instead of Honduran mahogany. Doesn't have the rosewood is probably from India as well. It's the maple is still Canadian maple. It's very nice. They're great guitars, and they are probably 90% of what an original one would be, as far as aesthetically, as an instrument. So when you're talking the difference between 4,000 pounds and potentially 600 grand or something like that for a real, there's no, especially if you're out playing, one of these is your tool of choice, The others do have an X factor to them besides their rarity. They do, when you listen to Peter Green play his, Peter Green had one, Mick Taylor, Eric had one, Jimmy Page, all those guys had a flame top Les Paul or a Sunburst Les Paul, and you hear that music that was created on those instruments and you go, those are pretty special instruments, And
John, do you still have your very first guitar?
Oh no.
You never kept it?
No, never kept it. No.
Okay.
No. A friend of mine, funnily enough, does own it though. A friend of mine does have it. Yeah.
Okay.
He has it. Yeah.
So you know where
it is. What guitar was it?
Funnily enough, my first electric guitar, 6-string guitar, was a Fender Jaguar. And we did some monkeying around with it, had it painted black and so on and so on. He still has it, He lives in New York.
Amazing. Now, John, I want to thank you so much for your time right here on Go Straight to the Top of the Charts. And before we go, I just want to say, if you want to say anything to the Yardbird fans, please tell them your links, whatever it is, what the Yardbirds may be planning to do. Now's your chance to tell everyone. We appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, the Yardbirds should be, all things going right, should be back in the U.S. in autumn, in September. And it looks like that's going to happen. So that's a relief for us, and for the crowds. We have been looking into doing a couple of tracks, new tracks. So trying to do it from a distance, you know, doesn't really work for this band. We need to be playing together. So you can't sort of phone in your part, you know. We need to be together to record. So that is potentially going to happen as well in the autumn. So we've got some ideas, got some songs, so on and so on. And I think there'll be some live material released from the band soon as well. That's being sort of put together from various shows that we've already done. Jim's doing well. Godfrey's doing well. Kenny, everyone seems to be fine, you know. And yeah, let's just hope that, you know, governments and people stay sensible and keep the plan in action, and just, you know, bide our time for a little longer.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, everybody stay as healthy as they possibly can.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Does he want
exactly,
you
John? I just want to ask you if there's any links do you want to give out on the Yardbirds or your own personal page? Yeah, sure.
There's always yardbirds.com, you know. My page is johnidan.net. And that's going to be updated. I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff in very soon with new material and being able to stream material from my own website. That's going to be, you know, I'll let you know more about that when the time comes. I want my stuff to be able to be a little bit in my own control, you know.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you, John, that song you played for us is a worldwide exclusive. Can't thank you enough. And to me, it's sounding like one of the greatest songs I've ever heard. And once you guys get together and record it, once it's recorded, we got to hear it. We got to hear it on this show.
I tell you, it's gonna be shit hot. I'll tell you that.
John Idan, that song's going straight to the top of the chart. Stay there for a minute. Thank you so much, everyone. Go out there and start buying Yardbird songs.
Brilliant.
What's the title of the song, John, that you played?
Train Kept Rolling.
We look forward to seeing you in the UK next year.
Oh, bless you. Bless you. We'll see you soon, all right?
Yeah,
all the
thank
best.
Thank you so much, John.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time.
Peace, everybody. Yeah.
Yeah. Take care.
Straight to the top of the charts. Straight to the top of the charts. From 10 to 1, you gotta show number 1 when you go straight to the top of the charts.